Hi there, and welcome to the Creatives Get Real podcast. I'm Roben-Marie Smith.
And I'm Sandi Keene, and these are real conversations about the creative life. Hey, Roben-Marie.
Hey, dear, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I can't complain. I'm doing well.
Okay.
It's November. We're in November. Whoa.
This year needs to end. So November is good. Now, I know that we can't count on 2021 being better, but good Lord, it can't be worse, right?
No. I'm an optimist. I think it's going to be great.
Flaming meteorites hitting the earth.
No.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good.
It's got to be better.
I got every confidence it's going to be awesome.
Good. I'm going with your answer.
Okay. Which kind of leads us into our topic.
This one is going to be interesting.
Oh boy. We're just letting you know. We're letting you know early.
This one's a doozy.
Oh boy. All right. What is it?
Goal setting.
Ew, I hate setting goals. I hate thinking about setting goals. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do.
It sounds kind of innocuous. Like, okay, we're going to make some goals. No, we're going deep here, people.
Yeah. The idea of goals, it's all how you approach it. It's like, well, what do you mean by goal setting? I mean, it's like taking a deep dive look at your life, personally, from a business standpoint, from your art, just everything, and doing a complete analysis of things, and then filtering it all and trying to decide, now what comes next? Where do I go from here?
Yeah. And sometimes, you can take a look at things and decide, hey, I have to make some big changes.
Exactly.
And that can happen.
Yep.
That might be foreshadowing.
It might be. Just rip the Band-Aid off, right? We'll get to that.
We'll get there.
So I'm thinking that really 2020, it's not lost on me that is 2020, like perfect vision. I think that it's afforded at least you and I the ability to really look at things and ponder things throughout the year to get to a point where we're like, it's like we've talked, you and I personally, about the seasons that we're in our lives. It's for those that get married, they're, maybe they're starting their job, they're newly married, and they maybe have children. And then from there, their kids are growing. They're in different stages of their lives, so that your season is different depending on where they're at. If they're toddlers, it's very different than when they're in high school. Then you become empty nesters. And so then you're in a whole new season of your life. And as women, we go through other seasons of our lives. And then, retirement, then what comes next, and you and I've talked about this on our podcast about we're within a decade of age of each other. Right. And so, it's like, you have had advice for me over the last 10 years having gone before me in a lot of things. And so, and several of those things have been like, yeah, Sandi was right about that. It's not that I didn't think you were, it's just that you don't really get it until you're there.
Right.
And you really have to look at things in a different way. And even with our own businesses, the way things were when I started my business, I'm not in the same place that I was back then. Things change in your life personally. They change in your life, what things you want out of life, things you want out of your day and your schedule. And all of those things need to be considered when we're looking at goal setting or planning ahead and trying to decide, what do I want and what do I not want? You're really good at this. Like, you've given me some great advice, scary sort of, where it comes down to, oh, wow, I have to really think that deeply about this, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you do. You're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, you do. Especially, I think that our timing is perfect. The end of the year, this is the time when we're starting to evaluate, what did we want to do in 2020? Nothing that we did, I can tell you that right now. But, we all have goals, even if they're small ones. They can be, creative goals, or redoing your studio, or whatever your goals are. And then the end of the year, it's just such a great time to take stock and then look forward. Okay, now the next year, what do goals look like?
Right.
So for me, when I'm coaching, I often tell people, okay, let's see if your goals and your life are matching up. That's the question. Are you able to articulate your goals, take a look at your life, and fit them in? Do they fit? And can you do them?
Yeah. What does that look like? Because that sounds kind of broad. It's like, well,
Okay.
how do you do that? What does that look like?
Yeah, what I do when I have to make a big decision about, the big question is for me and for everyone I coach, how do you want to spend your time? That is the most important question I think we can answer. How
Right.
do you want to spend your time? What makes you happy? What do you want? So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no sense talking about anything, any
Mm-hmm.
creative goals, business goals, personal goals, marital goals, until we talk about what is it that you actually want.
Right.
And that can be the hardest part of all, is
Well,
figuring out what you want.
and and that's hard for me. And we've talked about this, you as my coach, many times, because I think it's figuring out, well, how do I separate what I want from what I don't know if the word is need. I mean, I do what I do because I love it, but it's also my job, it's my business. So there is that element for many of us that there's an income coming in, that,
Mm-hmm.
we're feeding our families or paying the rent, whatever that looks like. So it's sort of like, how do I balance that where I need to have this, but then I really like to have more time? That's sort
Right.
of I don't know how often that comes up,
A lot.
when you're talking with others about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's also this dichotomy of what you want and what you think you should be
Mm.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh. Mm-hmm.
they often don't align, they don't match at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you're like, okay, we need to really look at this, because this is not gelling right here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big one. But I always start with, what do you want? What's going to make you happy? Because no matter what your goals are, if what you're doing it doesn't fulfill you in some
Mm-hmm.
way,
Sure.
you're going to burn out. You're going to
Right.
stop. You're going to resent it. So what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not going to work. So let's approach it differently.
So let's give our listeners some ideas of, okay, we're looking at this. What would make me happy? What are the things? And you're talking about things that are not just business, creative, personal. It runs the gamut of all
Damn
those
it.
things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's creating that list of
Yes.
all the things, right?
Yes.
And I recently did this too. I think maybe we had talked, and we were talking about this very thing. This was a little bit ago. And so I wrote this list of all the things that I do, like
Mm-hmm.
everything that I do, whether it's a have to, a like to, it's good for me to, whatever that is, like everything. It was everything from the laundry to, things I do for myself personally, working out, things like that. It was pages and pages of stuff. Like I broke it down. And then in the business area, it was everything,
Mm-hmm.
blog posts, this, that, the other, answering emails. Literally wrote it all down. And it was like, wow, no wonder I'm tired.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
overwhelming when you
yeah,
see everything that you're doing.
yeah, yeah.
And there's things that you're doing that you don't even realize that you're doing it,
Mm-hmm.
or how much time and energy it's taking up.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that's a good point, the energy, because as I mentioned earlier about these seasons in our lives, like I could go from morning until night working every single day 10 years ago. Now I can't do it. Like I just
Mm-hmm.
physically, my brain will not let me do it. It's like
Right.
I want to, but I just cannot do it. And then I
Mm-hmm.
find that I'm not worth anything to myself, to my friends, to my business if I'm not getting the rest that I need, or just the separation from being go, go, go the whole
Right.
time. But
Yep.
the priorities change too. And so that is where I think looking at things and going, all right, do you really want this like you did 10 years ago? Or even a year ago. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean it has to be a decade ago. I mean, I'm even looking at things, as I know you are, because we've talked about it. What's going to be different in 2021? How does that look? And so I know I started by creating that very long list of things. And I
Right.
know you did as well.
I did.
Yeah. And so what's the next step? Like, what would you recommend like, I mean, you really get down to the nitty gritty of things, guys. This isn't just, oh, I think I want to create a website in 2021. It's so much deeper than that.
Right. Yeah, it really is an inventory of every little thing. When I was going through this and I was doing this, all I kept thinking about was reorganizing a closet, because I thought the parallels were so amazingly, in line. And it's the same thing. You take everything out of the closet and you look at every single item. And before they go back in, you have to figure out, what do I want? What do I like? What am I not wearing? I haven't worn this in 2 years. Oh, look, this still has tags on it. I'm guessing.
I don't need it.
I
didn't want it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not fulfilling my life in any way because it's still in the closet. Yeah.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Yes, it was triple marked down in a great deal, but did I really, really need it? Want it? Like it? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Evident. The tags.
Exactly. No, that's a great analogy.
It's the same thing. That's just what I kept thinking of when I was doing this list. And then for me, the next step is to look at your schedule and how do you feel? Are you feeling overwhelmed and overcommitted? Okay. Big message. Are you feeling undercommitted and uninspired? Okay. Or do you feel balanced and it's just right?
Now, how do you separate answering these questions out? Like, you have to do it more than just maybe a chunk of a couple weeks. You need to kind of look at it beyond that, right? Because we all have weeks where we're a little bit overcommitted. But if it's a consistent pattern,
exactly,
that's when you start going, I have to really evaluate something.
Right.
Here.
So that's when you look at your schedule and your commitments as a whole. Just like your closet, you would look at the whole of it. If you've got a pile of clothes the size of your bedroom and you can't even walk through it, okay, you've got too much. You have overbought.
Yeah.
And we need to reduce, minimize, and pare down. The same thing goes for your schedule. If your general feeling is, what the hell did I do? I'm exhausted. I'm overcommitted.
Right.
I don't have time for the things that I love.
Yep.
And I'm generally out of sorts. That's your answer. I think that I don't want to sound too woo-woo, but like taking the temperature of your spirit, like how do you feel? Right. Are you exhausted? Are you tired? Are you bored? What do you feel balanced? Where do you fall on that line?
I find that if I'm overcommitted, like and here's an example, when I look at because I do my calendar on Google so that I have it wherever I'm at, I can put things in it when I make appointments. If I look at my calendar for the upcoming week and I see every single day that there's appointments, and it's worse when there are appointments that I have to go to. Like if I have to leave the house to go to them, I know that I will not be very productive that day because it's going to take me time to get there, and I got to do the appointment. Then I got to probably run an errand or two since I'm already out, and then the day's shot. Right. If there's too many things on my schedule, it just stresses me out. Like if I get up in the morning, or I know, oh my gosh, there's nothing, and I don't mean there's nothing on the schedule that needs to be done. It's nothing that's a have to, because those things that are scheduled are have tos, but then the other things, I can work them in as I'm feeling like doing this today. I'm going to do this today, or I'm done today. I'm tired. I'm going to go take a nap, and then I'm going to go create art. That's what I'm doing. But when those things are heavy on your schedule and it's consistent, I find I get very agitated. Like that's where I just where I don't feel like I'm in control, and that makes me feel grumpy and agitated. So
exactly. I'm the same way. So you and I are very similar. Yep. When I look at my calendar, if I see more than 2 things on every day, I am angry, resentful, and grumpy. Now, there are other people who look at calendars with 3 or 4 things on it and they're excited. They like that kind of day. That invigorates them.
Yeah.
For me, it's completely draining, and it makes me mad. And you know who I'm mad at? I'm mad at me.
Exactly. It's like what?
Well, you know better. You know better. Why are you doing this? Yeah. Now, sometimes things come up where it's unavoidable.
Right.
Life events. Your husband comes home and says, hey, babe, we're moving. Or, like, what? Or someone gets sick, someone dies. I mean, they're huge things.
Absolutely.
You find out you're pregnant, those kind of things where, okay, now we punt.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so just a general evaluation.
So and in this conversation, Sandy and I are looking towards this is like a big year-end evaluation. I think it's good and wise to do these things like quarterly maybe and kind of see how things are going. Don't be agitated for 12 or 10 months and then look at the end of the year and go, okay, I need to make changes for next year because you just didn't have a good year, right? And things might be going great. We're coming at this because there's things that we have been evaluating that we know we want to change.
Yep.
But there may be those of you out there that are going, I'm chugging along and I'm doing great. I'm really happy and I'm feeling balanced. But I still think it's a good thing to look at things because is there room even in your, in the schedule that looks good for you? Do you still feel that way? Is there room for something else that might come along? Or is it really just kind of tightly packed and you're enjoying it, but you might not have room for something else? And I think, again, it goes back to, just like you said, what do you want? What makes you happy? And I think writing those things down. And how do you evaluate, though, how do I say this, where you're not feeling like selfish with your time? Like, how do you do that and still, like, what do you, when you coach your clients, what does that look like? Because I'm sure that I say that, I think that. How do I do this without being like, well, I want 5 hours of the day just to be dedicated to whatever I want to do. I don't think that would make me happy either. So it's trying to figure out, what does that look like between the works, the have-tos, the self-care and things like, exercising and just getting plenty of rest, time for family, time for kids, time for friends, and all of that.
Yeah. And that goes back to what makes you happy because your divisions of the day, like what percentage of the day do you want to spend, let's say doing art or working out or doing housework or cooking, all those different things. If you love to cook, maybe you want to spend 2 hours a day cooking. If you hate to cook, you want it to be 15 minutes.
True.
So it depends. And it's very personal and customized to each person. That's why there's no, it's not like you can Google this,
right?
Because it's your answers and everyone is different. So you really do need to look at, are you happy with the progress that you're making? Are your efforts resulting in the progress that you desire? Because sometimes we can work towards things and we're working tons of hours, but we're no closer. So it's like, okay, what I'm doing is ineffective.
Right.
So I need to do something different. So how can I change what I'm doing and find a new answer?
That's not always easy though, because you're doing what you're doing because you thought that was going to get the results that you wanted. So it's like trying to figure out, and it can be scary to make those changes. And I'll give an example. Because it's sometimes it's easier to kind of get these things when you have an example. So about 2.5 years ago, I decided that I was burned out. I was tired. I wanted to start a new thing. And so I decided to close down part of my business, my stamp company, and my other main store, like 2 stores, shut them down, like ended. My husband was like, are you sure you want to do that? But I had reached that point. I had been at that point where it was like, I have no doubt I'm making the right decision. And it was scary and it was a little uncertain because I'd been doing that for so long, but it was like, I don't have room for the things that are interests that are of interest to me now. Like I want to go down another road. I want to pursue some things. I don't have time to do it because of this. Yeah. And, can I do it if I stop doing this? Yeah, probably. Is it going to be scary to say I'm closing these stores and ending? Yeah.
Yes.
But I have no regrets whatsoever that I made that decision. And that was huge. That was a huge, really big decision in my business as far as, making a change. And sometimes they are going to be big and scary, and other times they're not going to be so big and scary.
Yes. For you to close those 2 stores, that was a real leap of faith for you.
Yeah.
It's like, I think this is the right thing for me, but man, is this scary because I don't know, what's this going to do to my income? What is this
Exactly.
going to do to my business?
Right.
How will I feel about this? Will I
Right.
think back and go, stupid?
Right.
Why did I do that?
Exactly. And all those things were going through my mind,
Absolutely.
but at the same time, thinking about, is this making me happy? Not anymore. It did at one time. At one time, it was very much what I wanted to do and where I was at in my creative business and all, but I wasn't anymore. And I just knew it. And it didn't make it any less difficult. And the uncertainties were still there. But I got to tell you, soon after the relief, in fact, right after I did that, I was going to Belgium to teach and we were gone for 3 weeks. It was amazing how much better I felt knowing that I didn't have to worry about orders, stuff getting shipped, customers. I mean, it was just, wow. I was actually able to go on that vacation and literally relax and enjoy. I mean, it was a working vacation, but I had so much fun. And I just knew soon after that it was like, I made the right decision. And there was really no looking back, no doubts at all.
Yeah. I mean, it just opened up so many possibilities for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's often what happens. Shortly afterwards, you were like, oh, I should have done this before.
Exactly.
This is exactly what I needed.
Yeah. Because you could be losing out on the other opportunities or things that come that you're just like, I can't do all of this, or you're trying to do it all and you're just you're spinning your wheels.
Right. Yeah. Or you're doing it all, but you're exhausted.
Exactly.
It's coming at what is the price that you're paying to do this?
Right.
Is it equal? Is your joy equaling your?
And sometimes it's not the things that we're not enjoying. It's not things maybe that we're just like, I don't want to be doing this anymore.
Right.
Maybe those things that need to go or the things that need to change are things that you do enjoy, but you have to look at the bigger picture and say, all right, in order to find that balance or to be able to make time for what I really want or things that are bringing me joy, there are some things that bring me joy that I might have to let go of, or things that I do enjoy doing.
Right.
And so that's where I think it can be really hard, because then it's like you want to hold on to because you are enjoying those things, but the bigger picture is indicating, maybe not. Maybe these are some things that have to go.
Right. If you go back to the closet analogy, I was watching on Netflix, getting organized with the home edit. And this profound statement was said, and I was like, oh my gosh. And it was, when it comes to organizing, you can have the item or you can have the space, but you can't have them both. And I'm like, that was like, yes, that is so succinct. So you can have the thing that you're doing, that you're enjoying, but you don't have time. So you can either have the time or you can have the thing.
That's a great analogy for what I was just trying to express, is that it can still be good. You can still really want that, whatever it is, but then you don't have
want
the space.
The time or the space more.
Right. Yep. Wow. Yeah, that nails it right there. Yeah.
It does. It kind of stopped me in my tracks. And I was just like, pause the show and let me just think for a minute. And I did. And I'm like, wow. Yeah. You can have the item or you can have the space.
Wow. Yeah.
Can't have both.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Yeah.
Isn't
that's
it?
So cool.
It was like, yes, exactly.
And so part of this process too is, as we were touching on, is asking yourself, is there something that you would love to do if you just had the courage to perhaps give yourself the time, right? It's not just the courage. Courage, got to have that too. But also in the process of goal setting and looking at what you want, what would you like to do in the next year? Do you have the courage to do it? And if you do, what do you have to do courageously to make it happen, right? Yeah. For me, it was letting go of 2 stores that I had developed and built to then explore what I wanted to actually do, where my heart was leading me. So that's tough.
It is tough. And I'll give an example. And here's what happened to me recently. Hang on, everyone.
Hold on, I got to put my seatbelt on.
Yes. So I was looking at everything that I'm doing, which this year, even taking the horror that is 2020 out of it, was an extremely busy year for me.
It was for you. Yes.
Yeah, probably one of the busiest of my life.
Yeah.
And to me, the thing that I held in the greatest premium because of that was creative play, time to explore, exploration, and free time. That's what I crave, like a person in a desert wants water. It was really deep craving that I had. So there are all these things that I do in my life. There's none of them when I say that stinks, let's get rid of that.
Right.
I had to get rid of things that I do enjoy, but I needed the time and the space more. So I made 2 huge decisions.
Yes, you did. I remember when you messaged me, I was like, what? But I get it, I get it. I'm having to do the same thing. I get it. Yeah. All right. Rip the Band-Aid off.
So my 2 things that I'm giving up to make space are, number 1, coaching.
Oh, my goodness.
All my clients already know.
Oh, that's huge, Sandi.
It is huge. I'm at the end of the year, actually mid-December, because I want my Christmas. That's it for me in coaching. I'm done.
And it's not something it's not something you haven't enjoyed. You've enjoyed it.
I love it.
And you do, and you're good at it. It's just that there's that, do you want the thing or do you want the space?
And I want the space.
Yeah.
So I'm giving up coaching and I'm giving up the podcast.
Oh, I know. I can hear it now. It's like, what? Hey guys, we love y'all and we love doing this podcast. This has been an amazing year and a half. Has it been that? It's been a while. I mean,
we'll at least a year and a half.
Yeah, we'll be close to 70 episodes. Our last episode will be 70. So it'll be mid-December. And, Sandi and I've talked about it at great length. She said, hey, if you want to continue this on your own but it's not a solo gig. This is creative talk with 2 creatives and it just wouldn't be the same without her. And I have also been feeling that stress of, the commitments of things that I know are always on my schedule that I can't just say, I'm not going to do that this week. I can push it to another week or the week after or the next month. And so, so we talked about it and we're both in agreement. As much as we love doing the podcast, we're going to close and just,
we are. We're going to end this. And it is, there is some sadness to this. We have loved it. The feedback has been wonderful. We know that there are people that are just discovering us. And they're like, are you kidding me?
I know. It takes time to grow. And then now, it's like,
But again, there are 70 episodes by the time we end
and
that
so
are there for you.
And they're timely. There's so many of them that, you can go back and listen to. They're going to be a benefit and we'll help you. So, but I think that, we're leading by example here, when we talk about evaluating your life and looking at things and goal setting and figuring out, as a creative, many of you that listen are, where are things falling short? Where is it that you're just feeling like I don't have time for the things that I really want to have time for and that are important? And, sometimes it's giving up something that you really, really enjoy and love doing to make room for a bit more calm and a bit more, I'm feeling more myself.
Yes.
Yeah. So this was not an easy decision. We both have been kind of going through looking at what do we want in the new year and what does it look like? And I know Sandi did a much deeper closet clean than I did. I'm still kind of going through things and going, do I want this? Do I not want this? How does this look? I've got a pile right now that I haven't, or undecided pile. And then I've got the others that I've discarded, and I'm still kind of working through some, but yeah, so yeah. So we're sad, but we have enjoyed this so much, and it's just been I've enjoyed very much partnering with Sandi and doing this. I remember the day that I said, I've got this idea, and I had kind of been floundering around with it. And I said, would you like to? And before I got the words out, she's like, yes, let's do it. And I'm like, are you sure? Yes, let's do it. So yeah. And it's been awesome.
It's been great.
Mm-hmm.
But it's time to move on.
Yeah.
And so we're leaving a little legacy behind too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The episodes will always be there. That's the cool thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So what we would like you to take away from this is not that we're ending the podcast, but that we'll have 70 episodes for you guys to encourage you, to motivate you, to help you on your journey. And we encourage you to really take a look at things right now and really make some tough decisions about where you are and what you want things to look like. And, if it means clearing some things out of that closet that you really like, but they need to go, then make that tough decision. And yeah. And if it's too scary to make too many of those decisions, maybe pick one and then go that route. I mean, I know Sandi's like, no, the whole thing's been vacuumed out. She's taking it all out. But, sometimes it's tough doing that. So maybe it's, small steps, but yeah. So ask yourself, where are you in that? What does that look like? And how do you feel about things?
And what do you really want?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you really, really want a business, then go for it.
Right. Exactly.
Get started. Or if you have a business and you want to cut it in half, it's time. Cut it in half. Make yourself happy.
Yeah.
That's what we're here to be happy and spread joy to others. And you can't spread joy if you don't have any to give.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
and you've got your close people, your family, your close friends. And, then there's beyond that, and many of us, we want to bring joy beyond that. But if you don't have it beyond just your close friends and family, I think it's time to kind of look at things a little bit and make some decisions. So
refill.
Yeah. And it's not easy. I mean, I'm still struggling with what is going to make me happy. What does that look like? And am I doing things right now that make me happy? Okay, let's keep doing that. And is there some things that are lacking that I think I would at least feel like I'd be happier? I mean, I understand that happiness, that's situational. Joy is not, it's in spite of things that are happening, you have joy. But, if I don't get enough rest every night, I'm a grouch and I'm not happy. So I have to make sure I get this right amount of sleep every night, no matter what. Does it mean I cannot stay up late and work anymore? I just can't do it. So I have to figure, out how that's going to look. So, but yeah. So I don't know how we end this where it's not so sad, but.
Well, I think we end it by saying that we're really looking forward to the future, that we would love to hear what you're thinking, what things are missing in your life, what would it look like to really define what makes you happy and actually go for it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I am past, like I've told everybody, I'm past the part where it was really uncomfortable because it was.
Of course. Yeah.
Hello, client. You know how we've really bonded? I'm leaving.
I'm moving. I'm heading out of the country and you won't be able to find me anymore. Yeah, I understand.
So that was the uncomfortable part. But now that I'm past that, I am so excited about the future. And I have all this space. I've filled a little bit of it, but I have all this space so that as exciting things come forward, I don't even have to think about it. I can say, I have room for that.
Right.
Yeah, I would love that.
I do. Yeah.
So that's exciting.
It is. And that said, we'll be airing a few more episodes through the middle of December. So you'll be hearing from us with a few more until mid-December. And then that will be our last one. Number 70 will be our last episode. So
our swan song.
It is, yeah. So, and 70, that's a good number.
It is a good number.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
All right, guys.
We
told you it was going to be a big one.
All right. We'll see you next week, guys.
Take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of Creatives Get Real.
We love hearing from you. So hop on over to Instagram and leave us a comment. And we also appreciate reviews on iTunes.
And you can find me, Sandi Keene, at sandykeene.com and my classes at popupartclasses.com.
And you can find me, Roben-Marie Smith, at robenmarie.com. And if you're looking for and need tech support, check out my membership site, makerstechu.com.